Hey, good morning. This is Don the Idea Guy. It is Tuesday, October 25th, and this is episode 31 of Running Through My Mind. As I said, this is Don the Idea Guy from dontheideaguy.com. What's an idea guy, you ask? Well, this idea guy helps individuals and businesses come up with new concepts to promote and market their businesses, sometimes to develop new products and services and spread the word and help them earn more revenue. So it's not just ideas, but it's ideas that mean business and more business for your company. If you want more information, visit dontheideaguy.com. And today that's kind of what I want to talk about, is generating more ideas for your business. How many of you take time to come up with new ideas for your business? I mean, actually schedule time on your calendar, daily, weekly, I'll settle for monthly, to sit down and just come up with new ideas for what you do and how you do it. See, too many people come up with the initial idea for a business or the initial idea for a product, and then they stop. And all their effort is behind promoting that product or producing that product or building a website for that product or getting a logo done for that product or writing blog posts about that product. And that's marketing, and that's important. That's manufacturing, and that's important. But continuing to innovate is even more important. So you came up with that one idea, but are you still coming up with ways to improve on that idea? Did you stop with that single concept and then it just never gets any better? I think that's the problem facing a lot of companies these days, is that it's so easy to knock off a service. I mean, think about ride sharing. And I don't pretend to know which one was first. Maybe it was Uber, maybe it was Lyft, maybe it was something completely different. But once Uber broke onto the scene, and I'll give Lyft some credit too, they were kind of there neck and neck, but Lyft was actually part of the example I wanted to give, is once Uber was in a market, Lyft would just follow them into the market and piggyback on all the marketing that they did. No matter what city they moved to, Lyft was there. So you immediately had another choice, another competitor within days sometimes of Uber entering into a market. And I just shared, if you're following me on social media, on Twitter or my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/theideaguy, or on Twitter, it's twitter.com/dontheideaguy. I just shared articles yesterday that talked about how China was already knocking off hot products from Kickstarter before the Kickstarter campaign was even funded. So you've got manufacturing companies that aren't being creative in terms of innovating new products, but they're creative as hell as finding out ways to bring popular products to market faster. And in the examples that were given in the article I shared, before the original product launched. So innovators, idea guys, are creating products, posting them on Kickstarter with, and part of the rule on Kickstarter is you have to have a working prototype. Posting their prototype, they're creating great videos, they're explaining the concept, and they're gathering a fan base. They're collecting a fan base of people who are interested, not just interested in spending money on the product, but are confirmed buyers of that product because they've invested in the campaign. And before the campaign ends, and I think the typical campaign on Kickstarter's 30 to 90 days. Before the campaign ends, more than one company in China will have knocked off a product and made it available for sale, made it a real product that you can log on and buy from a website, in many cases Amazon. The exact same product in some cases, in one of the examples cited in the article, with the exact same product name, because they went and got it trademarked ahead of the company. Or they didn't care and they just went ahead and marketed it under the name. It's not a U.S.-based company, so in many cases they skirt the U.S. laws. That is a huge problem with knockoffs overseas. But that's not the issue I want to get to. What I'm talking about is no matter how good your idea is, or even if it's on the market now, or if you're the industry leader and you've been around for a generation, it's so easy to knock you off. Anybody here locally can start another service. One company starts a food delivery service, another person starts a food delivery service. Somebody starts a bookshop, another company starts a bookshop, and then somebody starts a bookshop website and puts the bookshops out of business. I mean, it just happens at an increasingly rapid pace. So if you're not innovating, if you're not coming up with the next iteration of your product or service, or another concept for a new product or service, you're dead. You're dead, because if you're popular, even if you make a mint off of it, you won't be able to maintain it, because you're inviting competitors to come in and knock you off without innovating and take you to the next step. Let the people copy you, but make sure you're 2 steps ahead of them. When they're knocking off what you did a month ago, you're already 2 products ahead of them, and they're playing catch up. People ask me about protecting ideas, and I'm not an attorney. I'm not an intellectual property attorney. You should absolutely consult one of those. I know 2 or 3 of them. If you're interested, I'd be happy to give you a referral. Just reach out to me through the show notes or a comment or on the Don the Idea Guy website. So I'm not going to pretend to give you legal advice, but I'm going to give you strategy, which is, if you're going to invest the time and money into protecting a concept, into trying to protect an idea, which by definition, you can't protect an idea. You can only protect an iteration of an idea. A single manifestation of a concept is what you can protect. You can't protect every angle on that concept. And copycats are creative. They are creative as hell. I mean, they'll come in sideways on a concept and they're good at it. They have more practice at it, and they'll knock you off in a heartbeat. And what's your next step? Sue? You're going to take them to court, and now you're going to spend more money and time fighting somebody on this project when you could have been a mile ahead of these guys. So my advice is to keep innovating and to schedule time to innovate, to schedule time to come up with the next project. Make money on your idea while you can. Absolutely. And, you can keep an idea that even that's been knocked off or cloned by somebody else. If it's generating revenue, keep selling yours. You can always market yourself as the original, as the first. Absolutely. And that will hold some credibility with some buyers. I take that under consideration. I don't like buying copycats. I don't like supporting knockoffs if I know about it, but you're going to have to tell me that you were the first. But start putting that on a back burner. Keep that on a low simmer while you turn up the heat on a project on the front burner. It's really important for you to schedule time to be creative, or you won't do it. Put it on your calendar. Every Friday morning over coffee, every Monday morning over coffee. And might I recommend coffee from our sponsor, Drip Joy? I've tried to be subtle with them in this episode, but hey, I mentioned coffee. It's a perfect segue, right? So I'm drinking Colombian Joy this morning because I get up and I come up with ideas, either for me or for my wife, Happy, if she's working on a new project. We bounced around ideas for a blog that she wants to start. And, it's going to be a charity blog for St. Jude Hospital. She's going to be working hard to fundraise for them in the coming year, and she wants to do a content marketing strategy. So we're talking about them over a cup of Drip Joy, because we can both use our Keurig brewer to brew up a cup. This morning it was Colombian Cheer, and she had Dark Bean Daydream. Right now, Colombian Cheer is her favorite, and Dark Bean Daydream is mine. But we tried each other's favorite to see if we can win them over. I love Colombian Cheer. It's going to be my default, but man, I really love the Dark Bean Daydream. So tonight we'll discuss which one she likes best. If you want to decide which brew you like best, you should go to dontheidea.com/dripjoy to check out the brews. Maybe order up a box of the Joy Cups, which are compatible with any Keurig brewer, and tell me which ones you like. Again, I'm going with the Colombian Cheer this morning. But we just come up with ideas over coffee. And the amount of time it takes to brew a couple cups of coffee and to consume them, we came up with probably 24 ideas for her. I did a Brainstorm with a client via Skype this past weekend, and we wanted to specifically take time to discuss 2 or 3 of his business ideas. And what you'll find is when you sit down to strategically schedule time to brainstorm ideas for a product, ideas will come to you because you're clearing your mind. Your mind's just on that piece. You're not worried about what you have to do 5 minutes later. You're just talking about your concept. And, I think it helps to bring in somebody from outside. That's one of the reasons I offer my services as kind of a professional brainstormer for hire, because I don't know what you've done. I don't know necessarily what's been done in that industry. I know the little bit via the research I do in advance of the call. I know a little bit versus based on what you tell me during the first 15 minutes of the call. But I don't know everything, and I don't know why something might not work. So when I say, what if you do this? If you want to come back and shoot down the concepts, go ahead. But you'll hear me fight you to say, oh, wait a minute. How long ago was it tried? Who tried it? Did you try it, or you heard somebody else say it didn't work? Could you try just one small piece of it? Could you try a larger piece of it, leave out that chunk that didn't work? I know that when I got off the call with my most recent client, we got on the call to talk about a golf website and a golf podcast that he could use to generate revenue. But by the time we were done, he was pumped up about doing an art gallery website that he had as a side project he was just starting to introduce. But it seemed like there was way more opportunity, and it was a much more unique selling proposition to move forward with that project, which would take just a little bit of time to put into action and build up, and then he could jump right back to his golf project. But that was an idea that he probably would not have pursued if he had not scheduled the time to sit down and brainstorm ideas, with or without me, to sit down and think about the ways he could activate that concept. So I encourage you to do the same. Set aside 45 minutes to an hour just to come up with new product ideas for whatever it is you do. Schedule another session to come up with new service ideas for the existing product that you already sell. Set up another session to come up with marketing ideas on how to spread the word about what you sell or what you produce. But have a distinct goal, a single goal for ideas in a certain vein for whatever it is you're doing. Don't try and do them all at once. Or if you do them all at once, break them down into 15-minute segments so that you can focus intensely on that topic or that theme for that time period. All right, speaking of time periods, that's all I've got for today. If you'd like to hire me to help you with a brainstorm, you can go to dontheideaguy.com and click the brainstorming tab at the top of the page. The page will give you some information on the different types of brainstorms I offer. The most popular one is one that I call a Beanstorm, which we can do in person if you're here locally, or we can do virtually on Skype, where we both get a cup of coffee, sit down in front of a computer or over a table at Starbucks or your local coffee shop and brainstorm ideas. If we do it at home, I highly recommend coffee from our sponsor, DripJoy. You can learn more about them using the link in the show notes or going to dontheideaguy.com/DripJoy. That's all for today. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll have a Wednesday episode of Running Through My Mind. Bye-bye.